freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cup Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one recap for the Byron Nelson. Joining me to break it all down, Kyle Porter is here. KP, happy Thursday.
Yeah, you too. I had a lovely day. I had lunch with a friend, got some shrimp tacos, nice coffee this afternoon, just inundated with golf.
You seem to do lunch with friends frequently, which I wish I would do that. That seems like a very good way to stay in touch with people.
It is great, especially in our stage of life when there's so many kids running around. It's just you can compress what would take 5 hours with kids around into like 45 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes, and you get a good meal. It's good. And my wife does it sometimes. I do it sometimes. It's a good rhythm. I like it.
Okay. My goal is to start working in lunch with friends.
Yeah. And some people are big on like breakfast coffee, like that whole thing. And I get invited to those sometimes. And I'm like, oh, like I usually accept, but I don't like my morning routine getting upended. You and I were talking about routines at the Masters, and I'm more okay with like the kind of midday, like, okay, I need a break anyway. So I actually want to get away, but the morning it's like, oh, I feel like I can't ever get back into whatever I'm trying to do.
Yeah. The morning you get to sit down, you get to knock out some stuff, you get to make sure the house isn't on fire or your life isn't on fire or anything like that. You can take a break and come back and put a bow on it later.
Exactly. I actually have a question for you, and it's related to routine. I was thinking about this today. Do you, when you sit down to create a piece of content or maybe build something new for Rick Run Good or whatever, what's your order of operations? Do you go research stuff first, or do you like just do you outline? Do you like how do you go about that process? Because I think everybody kind of has a different order that they go in.
I just start ripping. I just dive head first, and especially for something like building a tool, because what I know is going to happen is I'm going to run into something with the data, or I find that my projects change. They're so fluid that if I outline everything to a T or draw up everything to a T, it never ends up looking like that anyway. So what I'll do is I'll do like I don't want to call it a brainstorm, but the concept of of brainstorming as an idea of like quantity over quality. Let me see. I'm going to start heading down this road and see if I run into barriers. I'm going to start heading down that road, see if I run into barriers. I'm going to go down a couple different roads, and then I'm going to kind of regroup and then make a plan of action after that. So the first thing though, is I just like go ham and see what happens, because I might end up allocating a lot more time on one thing than I originally anticipated.
I think that's sort of my order of operations as well. People that create outlines for things, I'm like, I've tried and I can't do it. Like maybe I'm the problem. I probably am, but I just can't. Like I can't do it. And I probably should do it more for longer stuff that I write. And I'm just so averse to it. And I think one thing that you and I do is probably both of us is we collect a ton of information over a long period of time in our heads. And I'm kind of hit or miss on taking notes. Like sometimes I'll take them well, sometimes I won't. But then we'll try to create something, whether it's content or project, based on kind of just what we've collected over time. And then, at least for me, then I'll go back and visit like notes I've taken or stuff I've read to see, okay, and this is sort of what you're saying, like, where do I go from here, right?
Yes. And I keep I have a bookmarks folder on my browser, and I have a folder in my Gmail that are both called resources. So like if I see something throughout whatever it is, the day, the week, the month, I throw it in there, and then I can go back when it's time to like, okay, wait, where have I seen this before? Or where can I take inspiration from? Or what tools would make this project easier? I go to my resources folder and then start putting that stuff into action.
I like that. I like learning other people's just sort of rhythms, because I think I just like to, like, I was listening to this podcast today, and this guy was talking about how he reads for an hour every night in bed. And I was like, man, I need to start going to, and I try to do that, but I'll fall asleep after like 20 minutes. I need to start going to bed at a time where I can actually read for an hour, because I would love to. It would just help me get through books that I really want to get through. And yeah, I always like hearing people's kind of routines and stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting because everybody's different and everybody has something that works for them. What works for Tiger Woods, at least this week, special exemptions, because he has just accepted a special exemption to play the U.S. Open at Pinehurst next month. So the quote from Tiger is, quote, "The U.S. Open, our national championship, is a truly special event for our game and one that has helped define my career. I'm honored to receive this exemption and could not be more excited for the opportunity to compete in this year's U.S. Open, especially at Pinehurst, a venue that means so much to the game." End quote, KP.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise. I actually forgot that he wasn't in. I think everybody was so like knew that this was going to happen that there was never there just wasn't a whole lot of article. There weren't a whole lot of articles that were like, oh, is Tiger going to get an exemption? It's like, yeah, I mean, of course. I think the bigger question that this sort of begs is how many exemptions does Tiger get, and does he ever not need one again for the U.S. Open? Because I did a little digging on this, and it looked like, I think Jack Nicklaus got the most U.S. Open exemptions with 6. I think it was 8.
Wow.
Which is a lot.
Both of those would have been way more than, if you would have said, Rick, guess how many he got? I would have said, and it's the most, I would have said 3.
Yeah, which I should have done. That would have been better for the podcast. I think Arnold Palmer got 5. There were only a couple of players that got over 3. Hale Irwin got 3. Seve got a couple. Gary Player got a couple. You know, it's kind of hitters for one name guys only. Mm-hmm. But Tiger's in a weird spot because he's still gonna play probably, but I don't think he's ever gonna qualify for a U.S. Open again.
Well, what would be the most likely way that he would get into a U.S. Open without a special exemption? Is it a top 10 at a U.S. Open, and then you'd get in the next year?
Yeah, I actually looked this up because we were kind of discussing it in our Slack room today. That's the most likely scenario, right? Because the other ones are like, you got to make the Tour Championship. Shout out Taylor Gooch.
They're season long things or year long things.
Top 60 OWGR, which is that to me is probably like up there. I don't know that it's the easiest.
I don't think.
And then
no, I think that's gonna be tough.
But all the other ones are like, you got to win the PGA, you got to win the Masters, you got to win the Players, whatever. I don't think he's gonna qualify unless he finishes top 10 at one of these U.S. Opens, and otherwise he's just gonna get exemptions for the next. I mean, how many years before they're like, I think we're good?
As many as he wants. I mean, seriously, that's probably, yeah. I mean, would you be shocked if they gave him 10? I mean, if here's the thing, and I hope I'm wrong. I think there's very little way Tiger Woods is playing like competitive major championship golf in 8 or 10 years. I think the body is just like cooked beyond recognition. And at some point he's going to have to tap it or just do, hey, I'm just going to play the Masters or something like that.
I think that's it, right? I was thinking as I was writing out, because the exemptions are lifetime for Masters and PGA. The Open Championship changed from 60 to 55, but if you're a current winner, you get it through. So he's eligible through age 60, and then U.S. Open is obviously the one that you need exemptions for. I think there's a real possibility that 5 years from now, 3 years from now, he's just playing the Masters. I don't think that's, again, I hope that doesn't happen, but I think that is, like, I think he was on a Today Show with Carson Daly, or maybe it was one of the shows that he was on. Maybe it was Jimmy Fallon, the Tonight Show, whatever. And he was asked, "Do you still get the juice from being at Augusta?" And he was like, "Absolutely." You know, and you and I both experienced that. Like, it's just like a different deal. It's a different major, and I could see him just kind of being like the Freddie Couples of major championship golf, playing the Masters. Maybe you make a cut. And I'm not saying this is going to happen next year. I'm saying like you were talking about 3, 5, 10 years from now. That's I think kind of where this is headed.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's maybe handful more PGA championships, handful more opens, maybe. I don't know. He kind of alluded to the fact that I think he actually caveated it and said he wouldn't be competitive playing at an open at St. Andrews.
Right.
Which is what, like 5. He wouldn't say I wouldn't tee it up, but I think he said this is like my last chance at being competitive.
I mean, I think the next one's going to be, they haven't announced it, but I think it's going to be 27, right? They want to get back on the every 5 years deal.
Yeah.
And he'll be 52. It'll be his age 52 year. He was born in 75.
Yeah.
I think.
He was born in 75.
So, yeah, I truly hope he gets one more at St. Andrews. I think that would be awesome. I don't know where the US Open over the next several years is. Gosh, I don't remember. I think it goes back to Oakmont, maybe next year.
25. Yep.
Okay.
You want to keep going?
I don't think I can. 26 Shinnecock.
26, 27.
Okay. Pebble?
Oh, Josh.
I have not looked. I'm not looking.
27 Pebble. Yep.
Okay.
28.
2030 is Marion.
Yeah, which is sick that you know that.
One of the, I think 28 or 29 is Pinehurst. I'll say 29 is Pinehurst.
You're running the table. We need 28 here.
2028. It's got to be Wingfoot.
It's got to be Wingfoot. That's
Let's
28.
go.
Okay. 2031. Do you want a hint?
2031.
I'll tell you haven't said it yet.
Yeah.
So enter a new.
It's at Olympic. 32 maybe.
No, Olympic is not on the future venue.
Really? I thought it was. Can you give me any other hints that don't give? Is it on the West Coast?
Yep. And we see it. Riviera 2031. Yeah. Okay, 32.
Probably back to Oakmont.
That's 33.
Okay.
All right. 32 is Pebble.
Okay.
We're back to Oakland Hills in 34. I'm just trying to find the new ones. Back to Brookline in 38.
That's so, I mean, Josh, I had a discussion. I played golf with some guys the day after the Masters, and we were talking about like the 2045 US Open. I don't know why, but it's like absurd that we know where that event is. Like, it's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't have to announce the 2050, US Open.
Yeah, maybe we'll get the ticketing situation figured out by 2039 when we go back to LACC. And all the members they're going to have 15 more years to hoard all the tickets.
So a low-key US Open take is that Pebble is kind of like the weak link on that rota.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I kind of am. It's a hard take because I think one thing that hurts Pebble is just its familiarity, its frequency.
We see it too much
because it just feels like, oh, it's a PGA Tour stop, not a major stop. And I think people don't realize how differently it's set up. Like, just how it's just it's almost like a completely different golf course. But I wish, I know they got kind of scared away by the Chambers Bay, Erin Hills stuff, but I think it would be really cool to work in a place like that. I don't know, once every 5 or 6 years. And they're kind of doing that a little, but it doesn't seem like, I don't know. It seems like we could do that more.
You know who likes Pebble Beach?
Jordan Spieth.
Jordan Spieth. And Jordan Spieth shot a 3 under 68 at the Byron Nelson this morning. And it was 3 birdies right out of the gate. 1, 2, and 5, but he started on the back. So it was actually 10, 11, and 14. And then he played pretty just normal golf, just a lot of pars. He added another birdie on 4. That was on his second 9. He gave it right back on 5, and he is going to beat the field average for the day. And this is honestly, T39 is probably better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I watched some of his round this morning. It was very, I think on HQ, I said it was very normal, straightforward. He was making adult decisions. I don't really know what to do with it, Rick.
Has he turned over a new leaf?
No, absolutely not. I think the encouraging thing is he was really good from tee to green, right? He couldn't make a putt. I think he was outside the top 100 in putting.
Yeah. But
from tee to green, Josh brought this up in the chat. He was combined 5 feet on his first 2 approaches, which is sick. And that's been really where he struggled over the last couple of months. He kind of started the year pretty good. Like, I can't remember, was it Century? I think it was Century that he finished 3rd or 4th, something like that. Played pretty decently over the first few events, and then just the last 2. And I'm thinking, okay, playing his way into major season, he's gonna have a good year. And he's just been bad from tee to green over the last 2 months. Like, he's just not been very good. So I thought that was an encouraging sign to start this event.
3rd at the Century, then T39 at Pebble Beach, then T6 in Phoenix, and that's when we thought, oh yeah, baby, he's brewing. Just a couple of weeks out from Augusta National. That did not end up being the case. Our defending champion, Jason Day, carded a 5 under 66, 2 bogeys on the card, including 1 on a par 5. KP, he made everything with the putter. He's 11th in strokes gained putting, 2.7 strokes to the positive, but he gained in both of the ball striking categories. So this is a good start for a guy in a title defense.
Yeah, it is. I thought the disappointing part for him and Spieth actually was they both bogeyed 5. And they both did it differently. Spieth hit it in the bunker off the tee. You know, it's a hole that's playing, I think it was like 4.5 last time I looked. Yep. It's just, you can't make a 6 there.
Yep.
And they both did. And that was the only disappointing thing from him. I thought everything else was very solid. It was really interesting. I was looking back because remember he wins here last year and everybody's like, oh, PGA, Oak Hill, sleeper. Not even a sleeper, like borderline favorite. And he didn't really do much, or he hasn't really done much since winning at this event last year. He finished T2 at the Open, which I don't remember a single shot of that.
Because Brian Harmon was like half dozen ahead.
Allegedly, him, Tom Kim, and John Rahm all finished T2. Don't remember much of anything other than Rahm making a run up the board, but he only has 5 top 20s. I was looking this up earlier. He only has 5 top 20s since that win last year. They were all good events, and one of them was actually 2 weeks ago at the RBC Heritage. But he's been very inconsistent, which I think has been disappointing for somebody of his caliber of player.
Yeah, well, the two big like breakthrough wins, Jason Day and Ricky Fowler, that we got in close succession last year, have both been followed with basically nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. And almost like a regression. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like a sigh of relief, if that 1 week with the win was just outlier stuff, but I think a lot of people were expecting, okay, now we're going to see these guys start competing more frequently. Has not even remotely happened.
Yeah. And you usually see regression from guys that either are historically not that great of players, or maybe like a young guy who's not used to winning, like a Dunlap, right? That's sort of the formula for like who's going to regress. I wouldn't have thought that both Fowler and Day would regress from their wins last year, but they both have.
Agreed. Bizarre. We'll keep an eye on it. Here's what else we're going to do. We are going to look to the top of the leaderboard. We're going to get you situated after almost a full round of the Byron Nelson has been completed. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
Okay, KP, we are back. And before play even started today, there was a delay. They got pushed back an hour or so due to inclement weather. Right after play started and before his tee time, Sung J M withdrew from this event, which has butchered one and done selections all over the place, including mine. And that was a sad way to start my Thursday.
Yeah, kind of a weird WD, right?
Yeah, I think it was an illness. He did the international travel. I get sick when I travel sometimes, and I think that's what he said.
Dude, traveling's hard. I would not fare well.
It is brutal.
Maybe you get used to it. I don't know, but I only do it probably, I don't know, for work like 5 or 6 times a year, and I never get used to it. But yeah, tough for the one and done. I saw Hoagie was 3 under. What's Steven Yeager at?
Oh, well, he was on a little run earlier. Let's see. He is 5 under. He's T11. He's still out on the golf course.
Okay.
Sure. So the top of the leaderboard is pretty eclectic, pretty international. Matt Wallace leads the way, an 8 under 63. Matt Wallace won about 14 months ago, KP. He won in Punta Cana last year, and talk about guys that haven't really done much since then. It's kind of a similar story for Wallace, but that 8 under 63 was bogey free, and he was fired out of a cannon. It was 5 birdies in his first 6 holes. The front 9 did play about a stroke or so easier than the back 9, but he really took advantage of it. Yeah,
he did. I think the top of this board is very emblematic of the type of field that this is, right? Where Matt Wallace is a nice player, but he's not anything close to a star. Alex Noren is a good player. Don't know that I would call him a star. Who else is up there? Pendrith.
Yeah.
It's just guys that you're like, yeah, they're good, and they're certainly capable of shooting 63 on any day. But it's about the consistency. If Scotty Scheffler is the epitome of consistency by shooting 66 every time he goes out there, you're going to see some inconsistency from guys at the top of this board. So I think it's a pretty live top of the board still, even with some lower scores that were shot on Thursday.
Yeah, we can wrap a couple of these guys together here. Pendrith shot a 7 under 64 and just kind of chipped away at it. Birdies at 4, 5, 9, and 10, 14, and 15. So he had 3 separate stretches of back-to-back birdies. That gets him to 6 under. Then he makes a birdie on 18. That gets him to 7 under. Alex Noren, I think, is the most interesting one, KP. He was someone that when you look at his results from this year, it's a lot of top 20s across a lot of different types of golf courses in a lot of different regions of the country. He starts off well, 3 birdies through his first 5, but he also ends in a flurry. He birdies each of his last 4 holes to post this 64.
Producer Josh said that his polo is a tragedy, which
so what kind of
agree with? I don't know. It looks like a Wyndham Clark shirt gone bad.
I don't mind the style. I think that it kind of looks fairly comfortable, and I don't like, so like my, like the polo thing, like what do I do with these down here at the bottom, right? Like, I don't know. It's weird with the buttons. He doesn't have any buttons. His is just looks like it's, I don't know, some type of performance material. So I like the cut, but the visual of it, I do not like. It's offensive.
Yeah, we're like halfway to a sports bra there.
It's close.
Which is
Mind that.
Do what?
He is playing a sport.
Didn't you have him in one of your bets this week?
Yeah, I was all over him. What did I have him in, Josh?
Here we go.
I have him to win.
Heck yeah.
Let's go. 22 to 1.
I think, did you have him best bet? No, you had a Corn Ferry best bet, didn't you?
Oh, Peter Quest, what's he doing? Don't tell me he's like 9 over. He's even. That's not going to work.
That's not good.
Not good.
Yeah, I mean, Noren, what do you think Noren is a better player than Matt Wallace?
Oh, 100%. It's not even close.
Not close?
It's not close at all. No, Noren's good, dude.
Yeah.
Matt Wallace, Matt Wallace was literally with us in the media center at some event recently. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was the Ryder Cup, which I can't blame him for. But
yeah, he was.
Okay, but Alex Noren is like competitive in very, very competitive on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Alex Noren doesn't show up in media centers. No offense.
but very, very competitive. I would push back on. Like Alex Noren's not going to go out and win the Players Championship.
Well, no, but he finished 3rd at Vegas. He finished runner-up in Bermuda. He had a top 10 at Honda, and he hasn't missed a cut since the Fortinet, and he's got like a million top 20s.
Okay, so Alex Noren,
he's like the 40th best player in the world.
Yeah. What's Matt Wallace, like 150?
Yeah. I would even, that's probably fair.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if Alex Noren won this event. I think that'd be a good outcome. I don't know if he's going to, but
yeah, I mean, probably not. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys in the mix. Chesson Hadley also in at 7 under. Let me find some other interesting names that are going on. Oh, let's talk about this. Daniel Berger. Remember him? So I went back and looked at this, and I went back like 200 rounds. So obviously very long term. And 200 rounds is probably 2 years for most guys. For Berger, it's probably 3 years because he missed 9 months or whatever it is. He's like the best. He would be the best player in this field, right? When you look long term, he shot a 4 under 67. He's in a tie for 20th. His short game has been really bad this year, and it was a little bit better here today. He was pretty good around the greens, and he putted to a near 0. What is the state of the union on Daniel Berger?
I just looked up the data golf rankings for Matt Wallace and Alex Noren. I would like to apologize to Alex Noren.
Yes, thank you. I accept on his behalf.
Yeah, he's been better than a top 50 player for like the last 7 years. Or like,
former number 10 player in the world, Alex Noren. That's who you're besmirching.
Well, that was a little crooked because that was when
it was very crooked, Kyle.
The European, I mean, they were getting just the floor on the European points was extremely high.
Yeah, it was crooked.
It was,
but it was still true. Everybody was playing by the same rules.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what the state of the union is on Berger. How many events has he even played this year?
More than you think. Don't look. How many do you think he's played?
I would have said your comment is going to skew my answer. I probably would have said 4.
Okay, I think it's like 10.
Okay.
Which feels like a lot more than I only know that because I looked up the other day and I was like, holy crap, I can't believe he's played that many times. He's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this is his 10th.
Okay. We're getting word that producer Josh actually put the number in the rundown.
Oh, we don't read the rundown.
I was thinking about Zalatoris today, and I was thinking like, man, this is going to be one of the like if he who knows, like if he's going to like be fine or if the back's going to be like, I'm talking big picture, like hopefully he's okay, Zalatoris. But I was thinking about how that would be a huge miss if he was kind of off and on over the next several years and just didn't have the career that we thought. But that's a little bit Berger, right?
Yes.
I mean, sure. I think Zalatoris is probably a better, like he's got more win equity at the highest end. But I mean, that's kind of what we've gotten from the last 3 or 4 years of Daniel Berger. If he was healthy, I think he's kind of like a perennial top 15, at least top 10 American guy. Like, I don't know if like globally, is he a top 10 guy? Maybe not, maybe borderline, but at least in the conversation for President's Cups, Ryder Cups consistently. And he just, I think it's a bummer that he just hasn't been.
Yeah. I think people, well, I don't know if people forget, but it's been a long time since we've even seen Daniel Berger. He was, and maybe he still is, very, very good. I would love to see him.
Is there any, I don't hear about him the people that I talk to don't even really talk about him that much. Is there any like unsubstantiated information? Like, what do you hear anything about him?
Just like in regards to what, his game, like the absence, or?
Yeah, just the health. And is it just, he just can't get healthy?
I heard, from what I understand, it's this back injury, and he got like a ton of different opinions on it in the last couple of months. And I guess none of them were particularly great, or they didn't like the way it was going. I don't know. I heard that he was like not happy with some of the diagnoses, and he kept shopping around.
Okay. He did do an interview with, I think it was the No Lane Up guys a couple months ago. I need to go back and listen to it because I think he was pretty open about it there, but I have not listened to it yet.
We are going to look at the betting board because there are still golfers out on the course right now. Jake Knapp's got a hole to go. David Skins, who had David Skins top Englishman? Patrick?
That's Patrick.
So he's T11 right now.
Let's go. Matt Wallace is taking it to him.
Could you imagine if they finished 1-2? And that would be so. So there is a lot going on. We are going to have Josh update the betting odds, and we are going to do that after a quick word from our partners.
Two big boys getting ready to play. Big being the operative word here. And here they come.
And we're back. These odds will probably expire immediately because there are still golfers out there, but let's use them for references. Josh, release the board. Thank you kindly. Oh, FanDuel. Okay. Alex Noren, the favorite, of course he is, to win 7-1. Davis Riley, Matt Wallace, both at 14. Jason Day is at 16. Jake Knapp is at 18, along with Taylor Pendrith. You can go pretty far down the board here. You can get Steven Yeager at 20-1. Josh, give me a little bit of a scroll. Minwoo at 28-1. Jordan Spieth, 3 under par, is 30-1. This thing's wide open.
I want some of that Siwoo. What's Siwoo at? Like 2, 3?
Well, the fact that it looked like those odds just moved, I'm going to assume he just made a bogey somewhere. He did. He bogeyed 15. So we saw it in real time. Those odds dropped from like 40-1 to 60-1 or something. He just bogeyed 15. He is now 1 under.
Oh, I thought he was 2. Oh, I guess he was 2. I'm kind of a Keith Mitchell sucker. Like I'm kind of in just on what he's doing. I don't enough to kind of close things out, but 22-1, he's what, 4 under, I think.
He's 5 under. That's actually, and he putted small positive today. He was very well rounded. He had a very good statistical day.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of like Keith Mitchell. The rest of it, it's like, I don't know. Like this is just I don't feel good about any of it.
No.
Yeager, maybe.
Yeager, yeah, he just made a bogey as well, so he's back down to 4 under par. Yeager's pretty interesting. What's Adam Schenk's number? 25? No. I think it's actually. What's Jason Day's? Josh, 16 or 18?
16.
Yeah, Jason Day, Keith Mitchell, something in that ballpark would make me feel pretty happy.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
If Tiger goes to Pinehurst, does that mean we have to go to Pinehurst?
Hope so.
Like we get to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
like
in.
That should be the like, oh well, we'll go do the Tiger coverage.
Look at you and I just hitting up. We it might be a slam year for us.
Oh, could you imagine?
We might complete the slam.
And
by the way,
and we started with a Ryder Cup. Yeah,
we did. I felt convicted about this the other day. I think the golf year, like I'm saying the entire like season should end with the Open Championship. I think the last scene every golf year should be the winner coming up the 18th at the Open.
Oh God, that'd be so cool.
Right, because we've got we don't need to talk about the Open right now, but I was thinking about this in terms of like all the Rory stuff that's going on. There's an article out in the Guardian right now about how he's maybe not wanted back on the board, which is insane. Like, what are we doing? But it reminded me of the World Tour stuff, and you know, you and I have talked about this, but getting people to care about the FedEx Cup after the Open, it's like trying to get people to. It's like playing the first round of NBA games after the finals and trying to get people to care about it, right?
100%.
So you have to place that somewhere else or blow it, whatever you need to do.
Get rid of it.
Just end the year, the season, the golf season. If you need to start it in December, do it. Start it in Australia.
Oh. Dude, if you started in Australia and ended it at the Open, I'd be just like,
right?
Smitten. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting. And I think I do not want to get into a global schedule discussion right now, but I know you wrote about this very well it wasn't Rick Run Good.
I did eventually post it on there, but it's in my newsletters. Yeah. So it's both places.
Yeah. You had Australia in there?
Yeah, I did. I think I actually started the season there. Or I started the season. I think I might have done I think I might have left it in December, but I think I might have started the season in November with like a rotating opening swing somewhere.
Yeah. Great. Asia. Here we go.
What did I do, Josh? Zoom in.
Let's see.
Scroll, find me a schedule.
We've got
scoring. Keep going. There we go. Okay, yeah. Adelaide in the Australian Open in December. November
Asia.
Asia. And then you get into your so basically what you could do is I turn this thing off in September and October. Would you be willing to flip August and July so it ends with the Open Championship? Can you move the Open Championship back a month?
I don't know. I think you should. I think people there get very worked up about not having the Open like where it is, which is no surprise. But I don't know if that's a weather thing. Like I remember talking to somebody about weather and you can't do it after July, and it's like, well, it doesn't. What does it snow in August? Like I don't.
Yeah. Also, like, great. I hope the weather's awful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would, if possible, and you don't even have to switch the whole thing. You can go, just switch July and August and put the Open like early August, and that's it. Oh, can you imagine?
Oh, it'd be so sick.
You could spread out. You could get out and gallop a little bit in the summer in Europe. French, Spanish. You could throw the Irish in there every once in a while. Oh, come on.
Trying to be excited about like, okay, now we have to award a FedEx Cup champion. It's like,
well, the biggest indictment. I was at the Tour Championship last year, and Scheffler, your star, like the guy, is talking about like, I'm just trying to get to the end. I'm just trying to like. The gif of the person like the marathoner crawling across the finish line? That's Scotty Scheffler. That's not a good business model.
No, it's not. Okay.
This schedule fires me up though. I love it. Yeah, I've seen different variations. I think it's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I love it too. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. We are going to be back Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday morning, whatever it takes, because there's a lot more rain in this forecast and they're already behind, but we'll worry about that later. For now, big thanks to producer Josh, who does all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there, it's Kyle Porter. You can find him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.